When cameras from overseas entertainment outlets suddenly gathered at Incheon Airport, few expected that a routine departure would ignite a global guessing game. Yet within hours, the name BTS was trending alongside Dubai as fans and journalists alike tried to decode what appeared to be far more than a simple overseas trip. Photos and short clips of the group moving through the terminal spread rapidly across social platforms, picked up not only by Korean press, but also by international lifestyle magazines, fashion portals, and pop culture news sites. The coverage felt unusually intense for a departure with no official announcement attached. Reporters dissected everything from the members' coordinated yet understated airport looks to the way they stayed close together, a detail that immediately fueled speculation about a full group schedule rather than individual commitments. Industry observers were quick to point out why Dubai in particular raised eyebrows. The city has become synonymous with blockbuster-scale events, luxury brand activations, and cinematic production sites, making it fertile ground for projects that aim squarely at a global audience. As headlines multiplied abroad, so did theories among fans, whispers of a high-profile fashion collaboration, an invitation-only performance, a major commercial shoot, or even groundwork for an upcoming international showcase began circulating in multiple languages. What truly caught attention was the tone of the foreign media reports. Rather than treating the trip as celebrity travel news, many framed it through an industry lens, discussing BTS's unmatched economic and cultural influence and how any collective overseas move tends to ripple through markets, from music streaming to luxury retail. Some outlets noted that photographers and correspondents rarely mobilize so quickly unless there are strong hints, formal or informal, that something significant is unfolding behind the scenes. Online communities dissected every frame released from the airport, zooming in on luggage brands, staff members traveling with the group, and subtle interactions that might hint at a packed schedule ahead. Past patterns only intensified the curiosity. Previous unannounced trips had later been revealed as precursors to major campaigns or surprise appearances, leaving fans convinced that history might be repeating itself. For now, official silence has only sharpened the intrigue. Without statements from management, the story continues to be written in real time by international press and millions of curious followers refreshing their feeds for updates. Whether the destination leads to a glamorous collaboration, a headline-making performance, or the early stages of a future global project, one thing is already clear. When media across continents rush to document a single BTS flight to Dubai, the world expects more than just a getaway. As the hours passed after their departure, the silence from official channels only magnified the sense that something carefully timed was unfolding. International reporters began reaching out to industry insiders, while entertainment analysts speculated on what kind of project would warrant such discreet movement paired with such loud global attention. Mentions of BTS continued to dominate trending charts across regions, while Dubai's schedule became a recurring phrase in headlines and fan translations, giving the impression that the story was expanding faster than any confirmation could contain it. In foreign coverage, the narrative subtly shifted from curiosity to expectation. Several outlets reminded readers that whenever BTS has traveled as a full group without advance notice, the result has often been a reveal measured in months rather than days. Teasers that later turned into luxury campaigns, surprise performances, or strategic partnerships that reshaped touring maps and brand visibility. The focus on Dubai only strengthened that theory. With its reputation for hosting globally televised spectacles and acting as a bridge between Western and Asian markets, the city seemed like a deliberate choice rather than a random stopover. Meanwhile, fans across continents organized live stream watch parties for flight trackers and airport arrival feeds, translating foreign language articles within minutes of publication. Screenshots from international fashion sites circulated just as quickly as music news reports, suggesting that multiple industries were paying attention at once. The dual interest, entertainment and luxury, gave weight to the idea that whatever awaited the group could extend beyond music alone, perhaps involving visual campaigns or cross-industry collaborations designed to dominate headlines long after the visit itself concluded. The absence of a schedule release only added layers to the mystery. Some commentators argued that the tight-lipped approach was strategic, meant to preserve the impact of a surprise announcement. Others suggested negotiations were still in progress and that the group's presence in the city might finalize details for something even larger down the line. In either case, the coordinated media presence at the point of departure felt like the opening chapter rather than the climax. As anticipation continues to swell, one pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. Global attention rarely gathers this quickly around BTS without a payoff. Whether the outcome turns out to be a jaw-dropping performance, a cinematic commercial destined for prime-time slots, or the first hint of a new international phase in their career, the build-up itself has already proven their unmatched pull. Until the first official photos or statements emerge for Dubai, the world remains suspended in that familiar state of collective suspense, watching, waiting, and preparing for a reveal that could once again reset the scale of what a single group's movement can mean in the global entertainment landscape.
Behind the scenes, the speculation began to take on the tone of a slow-burning thriller, with international media treating each new scrap of information as a potential clue. Correspondents stationed in the Middle East hinted that preparations were underway at several high-profile venues, though none would publicly connect those arrangements to BTS. The careful wording only heightened curiosity, suggesting that journalists themselves were treading around embargoes or off-the-record conversations while waiting for permission to publish something definitive. In long-form think pieces abroad, analysts revisited the group's history of transforming low-key departures into watershed moments for the industry. A previously unannounced overseas trip had once preceded a surprise collaboration. Another had quietly set the stage for a global campaign that dominated billboards months later. With that precedent in mind, many writers argued that the scale of current coverage could not be accidental. The focus on Dubai was repeatedly framed as symbolic, a city built on spectacle and ambition aligning perfectly with artists whose every move has learned to ripple across continents. What also stood out was the variety of outlets paying attention. Music trade publications, luxury market newsletters, travel and culture magazines, and even business sections of major newspapers all approached the story from different angles, yet arrived at the same conclusion. Whatever brought BTS to Dubai was likely designed for a truly international stage. Some speculated that the timing might coincide with upcoming global calendars in entertainment and fashion, hinting at reveals that could roll out simultaneously across multiple industries rather than in a single press release. Fans, meanwhile, had turned patience into an art form. Social media timelines transformed into rolling newsrooms, complete with amateur analysts charting flight paths, local weather forecasts for filming conditions, and the logistics of moving a full production crew overseas. Each unverified report was cross-checked, translated, debated, and archived, creating a living dossier of anticipation that mirrored and sometimes outpaced the work of professional journalists. As night fell in Dubai and daylight rose elsewhere, the story refused to slow down. The lack of concrete updates only sharpened the sense that the opening act was still playing out and that the true headline had yet to land. For now, the world remains locked in that rare moment when rumor, reputation, and global curiosity collide. Proof that with BTS, even the space between announcements can become an event in itself, carrying the promise that something extraordinary is waiting just beyond the next update. As the silence stretched into another news cycle, the narrative abroad grew increasingly cinematic, as if the world were watching the opening minutes of a blockbuster before the title card finally appears.
international editors framed the unfolding situation as a masterclass in suspense, noting how the absence of official statements from BTS or their representatives had effectively turned a simple flight into a global cliffhanger. In the age of instant updates, the lack of confirmation felt almost deliberate, a contrast that only sharpened the appetite for whatever reveal might be waiting at the end of the runway. Some foreign reports began to analyze the timing more closely, pointing out how the group's travel window aligned with several major industry gatherings and high-profile commercial launches typically staged in Dubai during this season. Without naming specific events, columnists suggested that the overlap was too neat to ignore, framing the trip as potentially strategic rather than coincidental. The idea that multiple global sectors, music, luxury, tourism, and media, might converge around a single appearance added further weight to the theory that the destination was merely the first chapter of a broader international plan. In op-eds and commentary pieces, writers also reflected on how BTS has repeatedly blurred the lines between pop culture and geopolitics of influence, using overseas schedules to strengthen their footprint in emerging markets while reinforcing their dominance in established ones. Dubai, positioned as a crossroads between East and West, was described as the perfect stage for signaling a new phase aimed at an even wider global audience. The framing was less about where the group had gone and more about what that choice of location might say about their next move. Across fan communities, anticipation reached a pitch fever, but remained remarkably organized. Timelines were filled not just with excitement, but with meticulous documentation, screenshots of foreign language headlines, side-by-side comparisons of airport looks, and speculative production timelines based on past patterns. The collective memory of previous surprise projects had trained ARMY to read between the lines, and every article from overseas was treated as another breadcrumb on a trail that seemed to be leading somewhere big. Until the first official word finally breaks, the story continues to live in that charged space between rumor and revelation. Media abroad keeps circling, fans keep decoding, and the world keeps refreshing its feeds, aware that with BTS, prolonged quiet often precedes a moment loud enough to dominate headlines everywhere at once.